Hey, Alvernia community. Our alumni spotlight this month is Brian Nerney, and we will be talking about his Alvernia experience, his career, and super fun. He was also in the movie Hustle that just came out on Netflix with Adam Sandler. So we'll be talking about that as well. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Danielle. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So to kick this off, can you tell me what your degree is?
My degree was sport management.
Cool. So what did you want to do with that at the time?
It's funny. I always wanted to get into coaching. Obviously, played basketball for Alvernia, and I interned at Rutgers University with their basketball program, and that's something I always wanted to do. And then at the last minute, I was like, "That's not it anymore." And did basketball for a few years after college, and I was playing in a men's league for this guy that was sponsoring the team. Little did I know he was the head of ad sales at Paramount at the time. And, we just started getting to talk over the years and we became friends. And, next thing you know, I got an interview at Paramount and I've been there ever since. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. Seems like you were meant to go down that path to veer off on another one.
Yeah, no, it's funny. And obviously now at Paramount, I'm in media ad sales. So I never would have thought, thinking sports the whole time, but I mean, it all translates in its own way, but yeah, I never thought I'd be doing commercials for, a big time company.
That's pretty cool. So tell me, I know every day I'm sure is completely different for you, but can you give me like a little synopsis of kind of what you do
Yeah.
specifically?
So basically what I do is I represent, a bunch of networks under Paramount. So we own MTV, VH1, Paramount Network, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and a bunch of others. So right now our big thing is with the Paramount Network is Yellowstone. That seems to be everybody's favorite. So we're selling the commercial space for the upcoming season coming in November. So it's pretty cool to work on a huge show. It is the number one show on cable television. So, it's cool to see, those numbers flying in for the season that doesn't start all the way until November of this year. So it's pretty exciting.
Wow, that's wild. Have you met any other celebrities because of this job?
Yeah, I met a few. So actually, we just had our huge upfront presentation, which is basically it's a huge presentation that we provide to the clients, like all the agencies and companies that want to buy commercial space. It's basically a huge presentation for what's coming in the upcoming year. And yeah, got to meet the NFL Sunday crew from CBS Sports. So it was Tony Romo last week, which was fun. And yeah, I met a few celebrities here and there, which has been really fun. You never know when you're going to bump into somebody in the building because my building is still in Times Square. They have CBS in the morning. They have, a bunch of shows that are always going on during the day. So, sometimes you get lucky and, bump into somebody.
That's really exciting, actually. How did you so can you tell me kind of what impact your Alvernia degree has had on your career thus far in your life and carrying to where you are at this point?
Yeah, I think it's had a huge impact. Especially Travis Berger, who was the head of sport management when I was here. I'll shout him out to the day I die. He taught us a lot, and he taught us how to think critically and be a part of a huge team and be a leader. And kind of, I feel like he took my skills to a whole nother level that I didn't even know was there. And I think with translating that to a huge company like Paramount, there's so many divisions, there's so many teams, there's so many people. It's not a small startup company. It's it's just such a big group, and you have to deal with so many different people on so many different levels on a given day. Every day, like you said, is different. So, it kind of made me comfortable, to bring into that leadership role in such a huge, atmosphere. So I think it's translated tremendous. I learned something new every day, but, if it wasn't for the Vern, I don't know if I'd, be in this position.
Yeah, sure. So what I'm sorry. How it must have been intimidating to get this job at Paramount and with this huge company. And it's not like you had a whole lot of years experience doing something like this before. So how was that feel? How did that feel going into that job?
No, it's definitely nerve wracking because, like you said, even coming from a school like Alvernia of, a couple thousand, people, and then now I'm in the middle of New York City, Times Square, and I'm in a 50, plus story building with, 15, 20,000 employees. Yeah, it was a little bit of a shell shock in the beginning, but I can give a little bit of credit to when after college, I guess, I did the Washington Generals for a year, and we traveled all over the world and played in big time arenas and sold out Staples Center and some of these NBA arenas. And I remember the first gym I played in, I think it was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it was 7,000 people, and I was terrified. But by the time it was over, we were playing in front of 30, 40, 50,000 people, and it was just another day. And I tried to translate that to Paramount, and once you got your feet wet and once you get comfortable, it's like it's just another day. That doesn't bother me as much as it did that first couple months.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like too, it's all about confidence. If you're confident in knowing what you do, then that makes all the difference too.
Yeah, and when you're surrounded by such great people, I mean, that's why I love Paramount so much. It reminded me of Alvernia. Like when I took one lap around the building, on my interview process, I literally ended the interview with like, what do I have to do to get here? And I just knew it was the right place for me. I've been there ever since. I think it'll be 7 years in October. So I love it just as much as I love the Vern. And it's more about the people around you who make it so easy. So, and that's what I love about it.
That's awesome. A place is great to work when someone so young has been there so long already.
Yeah,
I can't believe for me, it'll be 3 years in October already.
I know. It's good though. You're in a good spot. You're in a great place. So
yeah, agree. Totally. I knew that from the minute after my interview. I'm like, this is the place. Like you
yep,
said,
no,
this is
it's a
it.
feeling that you have to experience to know.
So talking about your experience on campus as a student a little bit, can you tell me what you were involved in on campus?
So I was lucky enough to be involved in a lot. I had numerous work study jobs. I played numerous sports. I feel like in every club that I could think of. But some of the big ones were, I was a tour guide, which I love because I was able to express, my experience over the 4 years. I helped the sports information department, whether it was announcing a game or taking stats. I was also the softball manager for 2 years. That was one of my, hidden talents, I guess you could say. That was a fun one. And yeah, I was I was the sport management president. I was, involved in intramurals. Anything I can get my hands on, I try to be involved in. And I think that's, the one piece of advice I can give to anybody at Alvernia right now is just do everything you can, be a part of everything, and, don't say no to anything. Just go out there and do it. And no, I think me being involved in doing so many things and, it helped me, be more organized and, prioritize more things. And I literally remember keeping different bags of clothes or like book bags like in my room because I was running back and forth, to my dorm in between classes because I was always on the go. But
So you were basically never in your dorm.
no, I was never in my dorm. I lived on campus all 4 years, which was a huge benefit because I didn't have time to go anywhere. It was just like, from one thing to the next. And, I loved every second of it. And, if that's the one thing I can pass on to anybody else is just do everything you can, don't sit around. There's more than enough things to be involved in that, will meet your likes and needs. And, I'm thankful for Alvernia for, giving me all those opportunities.
That's awesome. So I did not know you were involved in other sports besides basketball. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I'm praying that the high jump record still holds to this day. But yeah, it was I did track and field in my sophomore year. It was a first year program, and I remember, I think it was maybe Styles or Ginrich coming up to me and say, "Hey, I know you did a little bit of track in high school. Like, what do you think?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Let's do it." And next thing you know, I was in like 10 events, running around like a maniac. But we ended up condensing some events, and yeah, no, I'm a two-time MAC champion in the high jump, thankfully, with
Wow.
one second place finish that will eat me to this day. But yeah, no, I literally went from the hardwood to track, so I never stopped moving, and then on top of all the work studies at the same time. But yeah, no, track was great. It was very different from basketball, but I loved the competition. I loved, and we had great success as, a few couple years, like starting a program. And now, we have an indoor track now. There's, the facilities, and, we've come a long way. So it's kind of cool to be a part of the first few guys and girls that were involved and kind of paved the way. So, yeah, no, I love my track days. I love basketball. I mean, we've had some great times. We've won a lot of games and meets and matches. So I'm very thankful.
That's awesome. Superstar in basketball and track. There you go. Did not know that. How about that? Learned something new about you. So with all of that, all of your involvement, you were involved in so much, and I'm sure this is a difficult question. But what is your favorite memory from campus? And also, what do you miss the most now?
I think my favorite moment, and this is a tough one. I was thinking about this all day yesterday and today. I mean, it has to be the basketball MAC championship at home. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of other great moments, but I don't think anything else will top that. I mean, it was, our first year in the MAC. We were able to do it at home in such a sold out crowd. I mean, every game we had that year was sold out. The camaraderie and the support from even the community and the fans was unreal. And I still have pictures. I have my jersey hanging up right here. I have pictures all over the house. Yeah, it's a day, I guess you could say / night I'll never forget. It was just awesome. The fans storming the court, and my family was there. Yeah, that's got to take the cake. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, winning the high jump and track was great, but you kind of just do that on your own. Like, maybe your parents are there. There's no fans. There's no chance. There's no pressure of, having the other crowd there, like kind of coming back at you. So yeah, I would definitely say it has to be the 2011 MAC championship at home.
That's awesome. That has to be one of the best feelings. People
Yeah, it
still
was
talk
awesome.
about it today.
Yeah, just like cutting down the net and getting to hug your family. And then I remember the last play of the game, I missed 2 free throws. We were up 4. I'll never forget. And I think they got the ball with like 5 seconds left. So I knew the game was over. And I did not run back on defense. And in the video, you could see me at center court looking into the crowd while Lev Val was playing 5-on-4 against us. And I just remember putting my hands up saying, like, let's rush the court. And I remember my brother like tackled me. He was the first one. And yeah, I'll just never forget it.
That was awesome. That's awesome. I love that you have that memory so vividly.
Oh yeah, I remember because at the time, if I was 21, he was probably like 17, 16. And I remember he asked me if he could, my parents always used to sit in the same spot up top. And he asked me if he could hang out with some of our friends, like in the front row. So he was right there in the front wearing his, everybody was in white. And yeah, I remember he was the first one to tackle me. So I still watch the clip every now and then as a little reminder, but yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely the best.
That's your motivation to keep working harder.
Yeah,
right?
Keep winning harder. Yep, that's it.
So then as an alum, what do you miss the most?
As an alum, I think I just miss being in the dorms, with all my friends and just kind of, being carefree, no worries. And, there's not that many responsibilities, and, you get to just hang out with your closest friends, like on a daily basis, whether it's playing video games or just, hanging around watching movies or, doing intramurals or activities together. I think that's what I miss the most, is kind of just the quiet times.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Life gets hectic when you get older.
Yeah.
All right. So now kind of going into the movie Hustle. So I have to ask, I know you've watched it already. So how was it watching it for the first time?
It was great. I loved it. I knew it was going to be a good movie just based on, Adam Sandler's reputation. He always does things kind of the right way and, goes all in. Obviously I'm biased. I'm a huge Adam Sandler guy, and me being in it for, a legit split second. No, I thought it was well done. I thought it was great. He had everybody a part of the basketball world in it. And, I'm just thankful even to get my picture with him, no less, make it on the screen for a couple seconds. So very fortunate.
That's amazing. Can you tell me what part you played in Hustle and how you got to being involved in the movie?
So it's funny, if for anybody who knows me or has grown up with me knows I'm a huge Adam Sandler guy. Big Daddy is by far my favorite movie of all time. I have a Big Daddy movie poster hanging, 15 feet away from us. That's the only movie poster I have framed. And yeah, it just came about. There was like an open casting call, like going around on the internet. Hey, we're looking for, former basketball players, this age range, this height, this weight, stuff like that. So after like 100 people sent me the same, screenshot, whether it's Instagram, Facebook. My mom even called me and said one of her friends heard on the radio that Adam Sandler was doing a casting call in Philly. Like you name it, it was forwarded to me. And I texted some people in my family and I was like, I have to do this, right? I have to just go and, wait in line. And so, yeah, we went, my buddy and I, we drove down. It was in Wilmington at the Sixers practice facility. It was like an open casting call. And we waited in line, filled out all the paperwork. We were there for a couple hours. And I'll never forget, we were waiting in line and you went in one way and you came out the back. So everybody was like walking back to the parking lot, like dripping sweat. And I was like, oh man, we might like really have to play for like, I mean, these guys are drenched, like they're exhausted. And then we get in, kind of get like examined, like they go through your whole playing experience. There was different courts. So we get placed at this court at the end. There's a table of people watching. There's people like walking around, they're videotaping everything. And we played 3-on-3 for maybe 4 minutes. And then we took a picture with like our height, weight, like a nameplate, and then we left. And then I got a call like maybe 2 or 3 months later, like a California number. And they're like, hey, we think you're perfect for this scene. Like, we need some basketball guys. And then, yeah, it was cool. It was just, I mean, basically the part was just a basketball extra. We were on the bench. And yeah, I snuck in when there was like a huddle on the court on screen. So, but I mean, it was cool. I mean, we were there all day. I didn't sleep the night before. I had to be at Wells Fargo Center like 3:34 in the morning. And then they shuttled us over to the Palestra at UPenn. And I think I got home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And I mean, it was just so cool to just be on a movie set, not only in a basketball movie, but, to be in a movie with my favorite actor of, all time. And, Big Daddy I've watched, maybe a million times. And yeah, it was just a surreal moment, I mean, it was just, I never thought the game of basketball would take me on to a movie set in some way or fashion. And to see how, the process works and the repetition, and, we did the same scene, 50 times. A lot of standing around. I don't know how actors and actresses, do it. I was exhausted at the end of the day, and I was like, I didn't even do anything. So,
And yours was only one day, right?
yeah, I was only one day. So, yeah, it was a long day, but I was just like, man, I don't know how they do it. I don't, it was exhausting. And I feel like, I really didn't do that much in the grand scheme of things.
Wow. So, but it's like you said, it's still so cool to say. I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan too, and that's just so cool of you to play your favorite sport, do your favorite thing,
Yeah.
be in a movie with your favorite person, Adam Sandler. Like that's just the
I
coolest
mean,
thing
I,
ever.
I mean, and the fact that I snuck a picture with him, we broke for lunch, and because not everybody got a picture with him, so I'm very fortunate that I was able to sneak it in, and everybody broke for lunch, and there was another kid that I met, and he was from the area. I think he played at Scranton, he said, and he's like, look, everyone's leaving to go to lunch, but Sandler's staying. A couple of producers were playing one-on-one, and he's like, look, he's staying. He's like, what if we skip lunch? Like, this may be our opportunity to, like, get a picture or meet him. We got to talk to him a couple times in the morning, but he was around like all of us. But he was really cool, just like shooting around with us. And yeah, so we basically skipped lunch, and when they were done playing, he got up and we were walking by, and we were just like, hey, thanks for this opportunity. This is great. And he was like, do you guys want to take a picture? Meanwhile, I had my phone already open in my camera roll, like ready to go. And he was super nice. He couldn't have been any like cooler, down to earth guy. Yeah, and he took pictures with everybody, and then everybody started walking back in for lunch. There's maybe like 40 other like basketball players there, and everybody kind of like started walking down. And then he kind of like cut that off and was like, oh, we'll do it later. So yeah, a few of us were lucky to get a picture with him, but yeah, and then it was great getting to watch it at home. My fiance was kind of, laughing at me because I was standing in front of the TV, and I was like, I think this is the scene I'm in. We were like pointing, fast forward, rewinding. So she was laughing and making fun of me while we were trying to find me on the screen, like, pause and zooming in. And then, yeah, I think the biggest chill was just seeing my name in the credits at the end, like just being like, there's always a million people a part of a movie, but just the fact that my name will be engraved in that film for kind of forever, and I could show my kids one day. Yeah, it's a cool feeling.
That's awesome. Wow. So then I have to say that maybe I'm answering this question for you, but that has to be your most memorable experience on set is meeting Adam Sandler. Maybe
Yeah,
it's not, but I feel like that's memorable.
no, I mean, that was pretty cool moment. There were some other NBA guys around. There were some big basketball players around from like the area. I mean, there was players from Temple, Lafayette, Lehigh, so kind of be like, a D3 kid, like on this, big time movie set, with some of the biggest, basketball personalities in the world. Yeah, it was cool. But the picture was, I remember coming home, my brother's an actor, and he does Broadway stuff. And I was like, can I post this picture yet? Like, what can I, he's like, no, they're pretty serious about that. So, I did wait a little bit. I didn't do all the movie pictures like from the set until it came out, but I was like, I have to share this. This is such probably one of the coolest things I'll ever do. So,
That's so exciting. Oh, I'm so
yeah,
excited for you. That's awesome.
yeah. So it was cool. And
Is
then, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You go.
No, I was just saying like all the feedback and people saying they watch it and they saw me for that hair of a second. It's a cool it's a cool accomplishment. And I look at it as like I'm not the only reason I was in that room or in that gym. Like there's Alvernia, the game of basketball, my parents, my family, my friends, like if everybody and their mother didn't text me that text message, like maybe I don't see it, maybe I don't go, and maybe if only one person sends it, I'll be like, what are the chances? So there's a lot of people to thank. It's not just me because I went, like my friend went, he didn't make it, like he didn't have to do that, and we so there's a lot of a laundry list of names, people to thank for this moment, so it's cool.
That's awesome. And it's cool to think that in a way Alvernia kind of brought you to that point because of your
Yeah, and
basketball
it was,
career
it
here.
was weird and cool that I didn't even realize I had an Alvernia shirt on when I took the picture with him. So I remember I texted a couple people. I'm like, what are the chances? Like, it's a big moment for me, the school, for, everybody involved. I was like, I don't know why I had that shirt on over the uniform, but I did it for some reason. And, you know, it ended up being a cool moment.
That's so cool. Is the process, the movie making process, at least what you experienced in that one day, and even auditioning for the open casting call, is it what you thought it would be to create a movie?
Yeah, it's funny. I guess like having my brother like in that world, I kind of had, you know, some expectations, but you know, I thought we were going to play basketball for way longer. We only played for a few minutes. And it was funny when there was 6 of us, we played 3-on-3, and the guy was like, I see a couple of you here that I'm looking at for like one scene. And, you know, of course I was like, it's me. Like, I'm destined to be here. You know, you think like all this crazy stuff. And at the same time, you get in the car, you're like, there's no way. I mean, there had to be thousands of people there, like waiting in line, you know, like, so it was wild. But then, yeah, when we got to the set, it was super early. Everything was super organized. It was during the end of summer last year. So COVID was still like high up. We had to do all the testing and, you know, pre-checks and get there early. And, it was super, it was, I would say, over organized. I mean, they were top of everything, but yeah, we did the scene like 50 times, a million different ways. I think the coolest part that I never really realized is because I guess when Adam Sandler was watching the basketball game that we were like involved in, when he came in later in the day to do his lines while he was watching the game, they played the game with everyone took their shoes off and they played with no ball, and everybody had to mimic the same movements we've been doing all day, just so he could reference like his timing of like what he was watching.
Wow.
Like they weren't even filming that. They were just filming him watching us like run around, like no ball, no shoes. Like you could hear the extras, like all the fans like couldn't say anything. It was just you could hear a pin drop. And that was like one
That's
of the 50
wild.
ways they shot. And I was like, because they were like, everyone take their shoes off, don't make a noise. And I was like, what's going on? And then it was just for him just to kind of have a visual of what was happening so he can kind of time up his lines while they could hear him. So that was like one of the coolest, you know, weirdest things I saw, where I was like, I would have never thought of that.
Me
And
neither.
the fact that, you know, we were there for so long and they did that and they only used like, you know, 30 seconds of that day in the film is like, that's kind of wild to me too. But no, overall great experience. I guess, you know, I'll have to find the next audition for, you know, the next role. But yeah, no, super, super cool. You know, I can't thank, you know, everybody enough who tagged me and sent me all those screenshots of the casting call. So
Wow. I think your next movie should be a live action Disney true story sport movie.
oh, I'd be all in if I ever get the call again. I will. And it was cool, like, because everybody at work, I was like, hey, can I take off to like be in this movie? And they were like, absolutely. Like, what are you, crazy? Like, you know, let us know how
How
it
could
goes.
Paramount say no?
Yeah, I know. So yeah, we're one of the biggest, you know, media companies on the planet. So they were no, they were very supportive too. And yeah, it was just so cool. I still like, you know, I want to watch it like again and again. And I'm sure it will add to my you know, my Adam Sandler totals over the years.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm so happy for you. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Brian, for this awesome interview. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
No, Danielle, thank you. This was incredible. And you know, I'm always available for the Vern when they call. So
All right. See everybody later.
see you
Bye. Thanks for
guys.
watching.
See ya.